Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Adequate. Our ongoing mission until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior. We can't cancel. Can we cancel ourselves?
I think we can. Let's cancel ourselves. Let's say something like, yeah, Goodwill's a stupid pasty bastard.
Our ongoing mission to review every episode and movie of Star Trek in existence, to seek out new guests, and they are coming, ladies and gentlemen, and make them very uncomfortable, though, based on the email exchange, it will be us that is very uncomfortable, to boldly go where many other YouTube Star Trek-based shows have gone before.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers worldwide, and welcome to It's alive episode of Trekking Up North. Yes, we have got out the defibrillator, we have pulled the corpse from the pond, and we have given it life once again, and we are here. I am your host, Captain Goodwill.
You actually shocked me with what we're about to talk about. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Shit, I didn't realise.
I love how we're like, oh, it's time to talk about a really, really depressing and serious episode of Trek. And you're like, time to pull the corpse from the pond. That is the worst, most bad taste thing ever.
I'm cancelled.
I absolutely love it. Then we've cancelled ourselves.
We cancelled ourselves. I am Captain Goodwill, and joining me as ever is the delectable Geesian from the planet Honk. It is Science Officer Synoiz.
Hey, bitches.
Welcome.
I'm going to move my mic closer. Is that better? Does that sound a bit?
Yes,
nicer?
we can hear your dulcet tones even better now. Yes,
my dull tones.
Your dull tones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I've had a really good week. You've had a really busy week. Like everything has happened to you this week, and you have been absolutely chaos. I've had a nice, relaxing one. I'm loving my quiet time at the moment because I've been able to actually hang out with friends. I've been able to do extra activities and stuff, and it's been really nice. I almost enjoyed the sun today, but never again.
I tried to enjoy the sun. I tried to enjoy
fire.
No,
was it like a vampire entering a church?
The only time I enjoyed the sun today was I had to take a vehicle for a test drive it's got a gearbox issue, and the only time I enjoyed the sun is me in the van like this. So that's the extent of my exposure to the sun today.
You having your Bohemian Rhapsody moment because of a faulty gearbox.
I actually cricked my neck. Because it changed gear so violently that my head like flicked back. I heard like a pop in my neck, and I was like, oh, okay, and then it lost reverse, so I had to get a really portly gentleman from a random warehouse where I was to like push me back into the road. It was very I have had a day, but we are here to review yet another Star Trek episode, and this is a really, really good, wonderful, deeply gut-wrenching episode that we are reviewing today. So we thought we'd just get our frivolities and our dark humour out of the way at the beginning. Unintentional puns as well from me, because I'm going to get cancelled. But we are here to review Season 7, Episode 7 of Star Trek The Next Generation, Dark Page. And before we do, welcome to everybody in the live chat. Welcome to the magnificent shed from Nice France.
Sorry. Because we were pre-recorded last week. And like, oh yeah, we're doing it live. There's a live.
We've got people.
Let's open up the
actual humans in the chat. We do have a shed, but the rest of them are humans,
Boom
In the
on.
chat, we got Trekcommendations, the lovely Jason, we got Hopi, we got Chris, we got Beth. Welcome to everybody in the live chat. Welcome to everybody watching this on record. I hope you have had a wonderful week. It is glad to be back. I do have my official Trekking Up North mug. Soon to have nothing in it because I've yet to pour my drink.
Well, I see your piddly little mug. I would
Piddly?
say. Your piddly little mug. And you know what? I'm gonna raise you. I'm gonna raise you a fucking trucker hat.
Oh my god!
You bastard! You didn't know this was happening. Look at it. Look.
This is, oh my god, that is incredible.
That was sewn in by a child, I suspect.
That,
Maybe not actually.
can we not go down the child route after what we're about to review? Let's not.
Okay, right.
Yeah, you know how it feels. You know how it feels.
Kester never lived long enough to work in the sweatshop.
Oh my god, that is a beautiful trucker hat.
It's really nice. I love though that we, because you didn't know it had arrived, but like we had such a faff because I'm so pedantic with merch. I'm so pedantic because I'm literally sitting there being like, I'm not sure if the direction they're embroidering in is the right direction. I'll contact them and make a fuss. And these poor people are like, just let us print the fucking hat, you know. They literally redid it twice because I wasn't quite happy about how the 6 looked, and they're just sitting there being like, can we airstrike his house?
I guarantee you, somewhere in that warehouse, the word "fucking Trekkies" was uttered, and it was directed at you. That is a beautiful hat, though. That is a wonderful trucker hat.
It's really nice because obviously we've got this lovely design with the USS Adequate, because obviously our new trekking logo doesn't really suit embroidery due to it having a billion different things on it. So we've got this, and it'll be on polo shirts, it'll be on various things, and then we'll have the actual mug design, and we'll have that on t-shirts and stuff. So yeah, the Adequate merch store is coming soon, hopefully.
Very soon, fingers crossed. Chris has already pre-ordered a mug. We may bring one. We may bring one to you in Vegas. It may be in several pieces, and some assembly may be required.
I think the problem is because we discussed this, but the thing is because we're doing drop shipping, it's like it's actually easier if people just order them over there, because at least then it gets made by an American company and posted to them.
It'll probably be bigger as well. Yeah, it'll probably be a bigger mug as well. That can deal with proper American-sized coffee portions.
I mean, that's technically a shot, that mug there, by American standards.
I mean, this would not sustain me like half an hour worth of coffee. Like, I have so many kidney stones, it's unbelievable. But we are here to review Dark Page from the Next Generation, and like I said, this is one of those episodes that turns a comical character on their head and really, really shows another dimension to them, because up until this point, specifically with Luxana Troy, it was very one-dimensional, shall we say. They were the comic relief in the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and they were there. It's like, oh, Troy's mother's back again. Is she gonna bring her home? Is she gonna try and get married? Is she gonna try and pull Picard? And then this just absolutely turned it on its head, and it's such a, even to this day, it is such a painful episode to watch, because Michelle Barrett's Barrett.
I say Michelle. No, not Michelle.
Majel
Barrett is how.
Majel Barrett. Yeah, her acting.
Tell
in
us
this,
if we're right in the chat.
Her Goodwill would be cheaper than the mug. Are you trying to buy me? Her acting in this is just absolutely astounding, and the range of emotion that she has, because it genuinely made me uncomfortable at one point, the way that she was behaving, notably when Troy and Riker are in 10 forward, and she absolutely loses her shit at will for touching Deanna, and it genuinely made me uncomfortable.
But this is the thing, though. This is the genius of it, because what it does is it does a bait and switch where the episode starts off with her being typical Luxana, where it's just got her being silly, and like the exchange between her and Worf at the beginning is amazing because you can tell that she's just trolling him.
Yeah.
That she's just calling him, oh, Mr. Wolf, and going, oh yeah, you couldn't do telepathy because your brain's too like backwards. And you can see in Michael Dorn's face just being like, I will kill her, and it's really funny and it's proper played for laughs. But by having it, and it's very front heavy with the comedy bits for for Luxana Troy,
Yeah.
and that's purely because they know that it'll create a juxtapose between what we get at the end of the episode, like how they're, oh wait, she is a comedy character, but bloody hell, this is really bleak, like where we
Yeah.
go with it. And I think it's amazing though, like I was saying to you in voice note earlier about the season 7 of Trek, they just stopped giving a shit. They just went like, what ideas have people got? Like, what do people want to do? You want to do a haunted candle? Cool, we'll make that work. We didn't. You want like, oh, like backstory or serious side to Luxana Troy? Oh yeah, we'll do that. Oh, you want to do one about, isn't season 7 the one where they've got the telepathy between like Picard and uh Crusher? Where they become telepathic together for a bit, and she
Yes.
realizes that actually he's just bullshitting every time he's really confident about
Yes,
something.
like the further away they get, the more it hurts them. So they have to stay
Yeah,
constantly within proximity. I do believe that is season 7.
I
Yes,
think
I
it's
know this is
but
a
it's a
record that
great
we get to this
season.
episode.
Yeah, that's it. We've got that quickly.
But yeah, I mean, like you
We're
said,
trying
it
to cut
is.
down the length of our streams because the problem is like when we were like, hey, it's kind of very often 2.5 hours, and we're like, I don't think anyone watches 2.5 hours.
It's like,
So
hey,
we're trying to be like, can we
we
condense it to an
we
hour
need
by
to
just
go to
not
bed.
bullshitting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to go to bed and also retain viewership. But yeah, I mean, it was a. It's the season 7 was the one where every sort of episode idea that they had for the next generation that was sort of discarded for the first 6 seasons, they were just like, okay, this is a season where whatever we've got left, we, for want of a better term, burn the remaining stock. And you had episodes like Sub Rosa, but then you had episodes like this
Thing is
where,
that the problem is though, Sub Rosa, none of it feels wasted. None of it feels like, oh, we'll just do a filler kind of thing.
yeah,
It felt like they had ideas that someone had proposed and they just gone, yeah, yeah, Steve, we'll get to your crazy candle episode one day. And then season 7, they're like, well, yeah, go on and let's give it a shot. Like it felt like that rather than them not having ideas. It kind of felt like they were, okay, well, we're not going to be able to do it later, so let's do it
but the
now.
thing is,
And I think that's great.
even episodes like Sub Rosa, like it or not, it is a classic episode of the
Yeah.
next generation. It is
We
a
reference it all the time. There are
yeah.
candles that you can buy. You have candles.
I
You
don't
there
know
is
what you
merch for one
mean.
episode of something.
Praise be to the candle slag. That's another T-shirt
I just
idea.
realized how ugly I look there. Look how fat I look. Ha ha ha.
Oh, you look like you should be in a pickup truck wearing sunglasses,
That's it. I've got the hat. I've got
discussing
the hat. And
other
you can
people's
have the hat
rights.
too.
Yes, you too could be a
Could
middle-aged
look this
trucker.
hideous.
Yeah. You two could wear wolf fleeces and Crocs while sporting our hats. But it just shows, like, even in season 7, when other shows would be getting tired and it's like, oh, these are just mediocre episodes. Season 7, it was knocking out really good episodes still. And, yes, we joke about Sub Rosa, but still, it's a classic. And this one, where it's like, we've had 7 seasons of Luxana Troy. We've had her in I believe we had her in DS9 in season
This is
1.
one of her last episodes, isn't it?
It's one
She's
of her
in like 3 episodes or something of DS9. I don't think she gets. Does she get to season 2? I think she gets to season 2 because they have the wedding one with Odo. But like, yeah,
to take a character like Loxana Troy, who is legitimately the comic relief, who is like, hey, the lighter side of life, don't take anything too seriously, oh, whatever you think, like Mr. Wolf and Commander Riker, dealing with Commander Riker, Mr. Harmon and stuff, and you're like, oh, it's a Loxana Troy episode, here we go. And then just to take that and go, no, this character has layers. This character has so much depth to her. And you, in a voice note a few days ago, you made a comparison between Loxana Troy and Neelix, where you were like, oh, well, Neelix was just the annoying chef and never really got a thing. And I'm like, regardless of how we feel about Neelix, he too also had a similar episode to this, but this dealt with something like quite different. But it also showed that Neelix had a little bit of depth, not to the extent of Loxana Troy, but it was showing that this character is not just an annoying one-dimensional person used for the explicit purpose of comic relief or to annoy her daughter or to annoy the crew of the Enterprise. This is someone who has suffered true pain and is dealing with that pain every day. They've compartmentalized it, and because they've buried it deep in their psyche and they've bottled it up, it's now getting to the point where she's in the brink, like in this episode, she's in the brink of psychological collapse. And the moral of the story is you can repress something, you can bottle something up. It's never, ever, ever a good thing. It will always come to the forefront, and it will manifest itself in ways that you can't imagine, whether it be physical, mental, but it will always be detrimental. And the moral is that you have to face these issues. You have to tackle these issues head on. You have to open up about these issues and not keep them to yourself. And I think this is what this episode does really well.
It is. It's very much the idea of, and it's something we can apply to real life as well, where it's a lot of the people who seem happiest have a lot of trauma behind them. Either have a lot of hidden trauma that they're not dealing with, and they're kind of going, ha ha ha, let's all have fun and have a party and never think about the bad things, which is what we get with Loxana Troy. But then you have people who have gone through the fire and they come out being like, I can enjoy life now because I've had all of this. But you wouldn't expect them to have had that kind of depth in order to be like that. And it's nice getting that nuance to the character. And like, I think the thing with Neelix is the reason why Neelix didn't work for me is because he was a regular character. Like, he didn't have the depth that you would need for a regular character. Whereas if he had been more sort of pop up like Loxana, where it's like, hey, look, we can flesh you out a little bit, but not too much kind of thing until we have nothing to work with. Because there comes a point in Voyager where you just go, there are no more plots for Neelix. He's just there.
Then he just goes away towards the end of the show, and it's like, okay.
He doesn't even have an arc. Like there's no sort of anything. Like Loxana doesn't have an arc, but she does in lore, doesn't she? Where she kind of is this big ambassador. She's this big sort of like, delegate and whatnot. And then we find out that she's been responsible for all these great things behind the scenes and stuff. I mean, this episode here, the main plot of it is that there's a race called the Khan that are purely telepathic race. And she is the first creature ever to communicate with them outside of their own species, like using her telepathy, where she's managed to understand their language and be able to communicate with them through their language, which is like picture-based telepathy, and allow them to learn spoken word, like learn spoken language. And it's this insane achievement that we kind of just spin over in the first like minute of the episode and go like, hang on, this buffoon character. I mean, all Neelix managed to do was burn down the fucking kitchen. Whereas like Loxana, I don't even think he would have succeeded with that, like,
as a chef.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I think the best Neelix could manage is a failed insurance job. That's basically, that's. But Loxana, like, just kind of goes, oh yeah, she's this comedy character, but also she's this absolutely incredible communicator and incredible like sort of ambassador.
She is. The thing is with Loxana Troy, when you
just him, just what is it, Marquis?
Yeah, just looking. It looks like you just give him a bad deal on something at a car boot sale, doesn't he, in that picture?
it's just the actor's really cute, but then he doesn't seem to be able to close his mouth, and it's
Yeah.
really strange. And I started noticing it, and I was like, "Can you not smile? Fuck off, Hedril. I hate that."
She was good in Spider-Man.
One of my biggest notes that I've got in my big letters is I hate when that scene where she falls in the pool and it's the little girl actress just being sort of like, "Oh, I made a whoopsie," and you're just like, "You've ruined that," you know?
And from that to kissing Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man.
Yeah,
The
'cause
thing is,
it's who is it?
it's Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a song about it,
So
isn't there?
the thing is, though, the one thing I love about the one thing I love about Loxana Troy is even in the earlier seasons, I believe it was Haven. Was it Haven where Mick Fleetwood guests as the fish alien?
Yeah.
And right at the end of the episode, she's just like, "Oh, don't worry about it. He's the spy." And she just solves this massive conspiracy.
Yeah.
She's just like, they're not that hard to read. And she just deals with it like it's so blasé. But then you also see with her not unintentional, but like her bond that quickly develops with Odo when they're trapped in the elevator in DS9, and she cares for him. She wants him, because she's very enamored with Odo, and she's like as she's enamored with Picard and stuff like that. But the way that she helps Odo and the way she becomes his like confidant in him, having to demolecularize and become the goo because he doesn't have his bucket and he needs to revert to his natural state. And
it's what Luxana Troy needs, because we see a lot of depth in her from her appearances where we realize that actually she's really frightened. She's really frightened of being old. She's really frightened of sort of being past her prime. She feels lonely. And it's for a character that just appears a couple of times. Like, she's one of those characters like Wayoon, where when you see the list of how many episodes she's in, you're just like, nah, they're in more than that. And you're like,
she was in loads more.
No,
Yeah.
And they're not actually in that many episodes, but the impact that they have on the show, because it gives her such depth, is incredible. But like you say, I think she sort of clicks with Odo because he is just brutally honest. Like, there's nothing being hidden there. And I think that's what she needs. She needs someone who is just straight and upfront with her and whatnot. And
I mean, that image there is
it's a nice
terrifying
pair.
when you look at it.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, that is a character where up until this point in DS9, she was playing around with Alexander, taking him to mud baths and, trying to find a husband and stuff like that. But then the more you sit there and the more you think about her episodes, the sheer amount of depth that she's had. She's concerned with her own mortality. She's concerned for, that her daughter is not married and not finding someone to settle down with. When she was getting married to I forget his name and I forget the episode, but he was in MASH. He was the surgeon in MASH, where he hits a certain age. And in his culture, at a certain age, they have to be unalived. And she's going, well, no, you don't have to do that. Why do you have to? And it's like her wrestling with another race's culture, with another race's ideology, and having to deal with that. And then, you think after watching this episode, some of her previous episodes, you're like, my God, she had amazing depth to herself. She had such a great range of emotions. It wasn't all just comic relief. It wasn't just all flirting with Picard or everyone like that. It was, it was her wrestling with pain and wrestling with mortality and wanting to, essentially, she had lost her husband and wanting to find another husband and just trying to get to grips with her own mortality and not wanting to be alone. And I think she is a great. I parallel her. I parallel her to and I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but someone I grew up with, where they're like the fun aunt, and they're the fun aunt, and they're all like all smiley and all bubbly, and they've got this massive facade. Every time you see them, they're really happy, really excited, and super.
I mean, think about what she's like with Alexander in TNG.
Yeah, and you know, they've got this really smiley and bubbly persona, and like you said earlier on, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know what's going on in their head. And, you know, I would compare it to, you know, not in a nasty way or anything like that, but I would compare it to Robin Williams, where he was happy, bubbly, making people laugh the pain away. And deep down, he was a tortured soul. He was tearing himself apart inside till he got to the point where he couldn't go on any longer. And it's like, yeah, you know, the happiest people in your life, the bubbliest people that make people laugh, maybe check in on them every once in a while. Maybe ask how they are, because very much like me, people use comedy as not only a defense mechanism, but it's a coping mechanism, because you are deflecting from thinking about yourself, your issues, your worries, you know, the things that are going on in your brain. And this is an episode where essentially the telepathy that they can have, like, communicate, like the level of telepathy where it has unearthed these repressed memories, these repressed emotions. Essentially, they have unlocked something that she has tried to bury.
See, the thing is, I don't know if it is. It's like, this is a really clever episode in regards to there's so many red herrings in it. There's so many paths that they go down where it's like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe this is happening, kind of thing. And we don't know. And, you know, and then it turns out to be something so different because
because you think it's Marquise. You think it's Marquise causing it, and then you think like, it's hey, the child.
Maybe the Ken are the problem, and maybe the child's the problem, and maybe she is just like tired or something, or maybe she's got an illness or something, and it keeps firing you in different ways, and then what it turns out to be is just the most human thing in the world. Like, I remember when every time I rewatch TNG and I get to this episode, I've forgotten about it enough for it to hit me again.
Yes.
Where, like, I forget, you know, I never forget what the twist is, but I watch it and it's got the scenes where she's like sort of looking at like a head roll. Is it head roll?
Head roll.
And basically just kind of, and then just being like, oh, you know, and I keep looking at it being like, oh, she's really tired. The psychic stuff's really catching her out. And then you're like, no. And then when you rewatch it, knowing exactly what's going on, you're like, no, she is grieving. She is visibly upset. It's not tiredness. She's like actually hurt by this. And I don't even think the Ken have anything to do with it. I think it's more. This is a bit sort of sad, but I had an incident the other week where I kind of had a bit of a wobble because basically a friend of mine who passed away last year and I missed it. I didn't notice. It was one of those awful things where it was his birthday at the beginning of March. And I went on his Facebook wall to basically go, oh, you know, happy birthday, mate, kind of thing. Oh, we'll have to catch up soon. And then looked at the wall and it was all posts being like, oh, you know, I'd love to see you again, kind of thing. And I hope you see, you know, like those.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And I went down the wall and it was like, yeah, it happened like last May, kind of thing. And I was just like, you know, and I was just like, I did not know anything about this. And then I was out for an event thing. It was the rugby event. About 2 weeks later, and there was a guy there who was the spitting image of him, like, and he's literally, he had like a battle jacket on and everything, and I was just like, and it was like seeing a ghost, and it really hit me, and it made me just really upset. Like, it hit, you know, it like this thing where I just went, what the hell? And this guy had nothing to do with it at all, and nothing had been said or anything, but just seeing him made me just go, oh, and then it kind of came to the forefront. And I think that's what we get with Luxana in this, where it's just simply the fact that Hedril looks so much like Kestra, and that's it. And that's so wonderful and human in terms of a kind of, you know, it's, and so the episode sets up all of these things. Are going, oh, maybe it's a psychic disease, and oh, maybe it's people being malicious, maybe it's this, and it's like, no, it's literally just being reminded of something that triggers your grief. And I loved that, about the episode. Sorry, big tangent there.
But it's absolutely true, and I think we have all experienced that, where, like you said, like you see someone who is the spitting image. You know, I've seen it recently as well, and it just triggers that emotion. It's it's a sensory reaction to, it's almost like you smell a smell, and because just this one whiff of a smell unlocks a memory that you have forgotten. It unlocks an emotion that you have repressed. And I've had it quite a lot over the last few weeks. So my partner tried this new fragrance, and this is a silly one, but it was a new fragrance, but it automatically reminded me to the smells of a hotel in Las Vegas. And it was exactly the same smell, but it triggered that reaction in my brain, because I was like, as soon as I had one smell, I was like, this is the Luxor. This is exactly how it smells. And then it was there was another one where I was in I was moving a vehicle, and the driver was a smoker, but they smoke the same cigarettes as my grandmother used to smoke. Now, she hadn't smoked since 2014, so I never smelt them for easily, 12 years. But I got in this car.
Trek recommendations.
Total Trek recommendations. But I got into this car, and I just went, and straight away, it was just something had just unlocked. Yeah. But I got the same thing that you did, where you see someone who is a spitting image, and it just triggers this wave of emotions, of memories that are coming back, and then you go down a path where it's like, it could have been that person, but it isn't, because this happened, and I'll never. And you go down this rabbit hole, and it's so easy. Like when we see what's the child's name? What is Kirsten Dunst's character?
Hedril.
That's what triggers Luxana Troy. She falls into the pond, and it triggers it, and then she blacks out. And I did want
it throughout, though, because in the first scene she has it where she's just talking to her, and just by looking directly at her, it kind of makes her just have a moment of just being like, oh, and then later on in the episode, Hedril points out that like she can feel telepathically that Luxana makes her like. Looking at her makes Luxana sad,
and she thinks it's her.
Yeah,
and it is, and I get that, because it would be very hard, and like I said, seeing someone like that, seeing someone. Oh, have we been cut off OBS? How have we been cut off by YouTube? We've been reconnected. How is that? How is that against TOS?
Well, while we're here, let's just mention...
Did they finally catch up to the defibrillator joke? Right. But
they heard about the pond joke.
But seeing that, and the thing is, right, like there was someone, I can't remember where it was. It was in some supermarket. I think they worked there. But when you see someone in your periphery, and your mind automatically registers, that's someone and it invokes an immense reaction within you. And, your heart skips a beat, you get hot, you get panicky, and then you go, it's impossible to be that person.
Yeah. And
it's an awful feeling, but we see it represented here with her, getting these headaches, and it shows how much she had buried this, how much she had repressed this.
Yeah.
And, there is that physical representation of her logs being deleted for, 7 years?
7 years? Like, well, as in, basically, because I don't even think she's getting headaches. I think it's I thought it was. And then every time she does it, it's not. She's crying. She's trying to sort of cover her eyes effectively.
You think?
So I think so, because what she does is she's going like, you can't see because the hat, but she's going like that. But then she's kind of like going, it just, I don't know. It feels
the
like
wall of emotion hits her. Yeah.
I think it's emotion rather than headaches. But then when she's telling people she's tired or she's got a headache, she's just kind of brushing them off. She's like, "Oh, I'm just tired. That's why I'm acting weird and stuff." It's like telling someone you're fine when you're not. But it's it's just really, really, really well done. The whole thing.
It's so well done, because, like you said, it leads you down the garden path with why is she feeling like this? What is causing these? And it leads you to believe that it is the Cairn. It is their sheer powerful telepathy that is causing her to do this. Like the way they communicate is so powerful that it's hard for it's hard for Betazoids to process, and it is overwhelming, and it is draining her. And it even gets to the point where Troy's in the infirmary and she's sleeping next to her mother, and we see Marquise walking in, and it's done in such a sinister way. There's no lights. There's this silhouette of a man, and it's revealed to be him. And then it's like there must be an ulterior motive. There must be something sinister.
And the problem is that I will say, okay, now I'll get to it later, but I see this as a flawed episode. I find it an amazing one, but I find it's one of those episodes where I think there are bits that could be done a lot better. But it's amazing in its own right as it is, but it trips up in places, and it's a bit ham-fisted with some stuff. And one of them is the idea of the Ken telepathy requires them to stare at you intensely, and then the music always soars into really creepiness, like it gets really tense and stuff, and it's like him going, "Oh, I will send you a happy picture of a cat," and you're just like going, why have you chosen to do that? So the idea of, obviously, in the infirmary, like him just standing there, sort of just like glaring, the light.
Can you do that again? Can you please do that again? I think the hat makes it even better.
You too could make this terrible.
It makes you look like it makes you look like you've just read an article in the Telegraph and you are not happy. That's how it looks.
Coming over in the boats. They're trying to take me flags down. That's the face.
Oh my god. Oh, for those that don't know, I have not just a few.
England is fucked. There we go.
Yeah. I have a library of faces that Synoiz has made over the years.
Joe Border, don't do it again. I'm getting images of cats.
Kitty!
It's working. So.
I have a library of faces of Synoiz, and for the charity quiz this weekend gone, I did a collage because it was crime and thriller theme for this month's nerdy quiz. So I did the cast of Law and Order Special Victims Unit as depicted by Synoiz and all the Snatch family, as well as Mark Twain Snatch. And let me tell you, it looks so beautiful in a frame, and I really hope that Kelly has got it displayed over a mantelpiece to warn her children. Yes, and I will make you do it again.
This framed picture of me as every character in Law and Order.
Imagine the eBay price of that picture. Easily 20 pence.
Less than it cost. That's the eBay price of it.
I remember we asked Charlotte's father to print it off, and he used the most high quality photo paper, and he had to go get more ink because he accidentally printed 5 copies. So
hang on, that means 5 copies exist.
And I will do it again.
It's going on the store. I don't know what it falls under, whether it falls under Trekkin or Nerdy Quiz or
just offensive material. We don't know. But it's the way that they are depicted for the telepathy, it's very intense. Like they didn't have to do any of that. It just could have. The intense stare. It's like, do everybody in their culture just do that? Like if you're having a conversation, it's just.
Yeah, and it's my problem with the episode is the idea that it's so ham-fisted in places. Like it's the fact of it was. Sorry, you were sending me an image of a succulent Chinese meal there, weren't you?
What is the charge? Yes, I was.
But
oh god, I've just seen myself on YouTube. I look like I was
We are
giving
doing
birth.
a great job of reviewing a serious episode.
And
We
yes,
are
this is our coping
top-notch
mechanism.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I cried twice. I literally cried the first time I watched it like yesterday, and then I was like, "Oh well, I'm immune to it now," and then cried again when I rewatched it
It's
earlier
such
today.
that when it gets to that part, and I do want to discuss that part if you would permit me to.
Yeah.
I believe, and I've quickly just trying to find out. I believe something's being cut
Really?
from this part. I don't know if it's deliberate. I assume it is deliberate to convey a message, but I believe once we get to that scene, where the dog runs off, and then next thing the parents are crying, I believe that there was something supposed to be there, and maybe in the editing room floor, they
I
turned
have a
around and said.
feeling that network censors are like, you can't show a dead child.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it feels like a cut where they went, we're doing the best we can do with what we've got. You
Yeah.
know,
And this is how have you disconnected at SG1? How have you disconnected at SG? Thank you. Let me tell you, there are scenes in the pilot of SG1 I have never seen in my entire life where there is full frontal nudity. Are you okay? Can you hear me? There is full frontal nudity. It is, and I mean, really, like for 1997, very explicit for a sci-fi show. And I never knew that it was in this.
I don't remember that at all.
I knew there was the bit with Carter and O'Neill and Kowalski where they're on about like genitalias on the inside, blah 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 blah. But it's when Daniel Jackson's wife is being, turns into a Goa'uld host. There is full frontal nudity, and it's not like a few seconds. This goes on for a good few minutes where this nudity is there, and I'm like, my God, like how, in what universe did the network go, yep, that's fine, just whack that in this primetime
what
sci-fi?
network did it start on? Was it on
I'm not
Sci-Fi
too
or
sure.
something?
I'm not too sure because it was produced by MGM, so I'm not very au fait with what channel Stargate premiered on. I don't know if it was Sci-Fi or if it was on another channel, but it truly did shock me. In the 30 years I have watched Stargate, obviously I watched it when it was on Channel 4, so they wouldn't have anything like that at like 4 in the afternoon. And then I was like, my God, like they had this on one of the biggest like science fiction shows at the time, and like no other sci-fi show would have pushed that in the 90s. And that's why when I was watching, and we've disconnected again. We've disconnected again.
Are we back?
Are we back? We are back.
We're
Really
back.
do.
Hey.
I really do apologize. I don't know what's going on with YouTube right now. I really do apologize. But
Have you replaced your router with a potato?
my router is next to me and it's fine. I don't know what it is. The potato will be installed on Tuesday. But I genuinely think that there was something cut out of that, and I think Paramount or what network were they on at the time?
It feels very much like something where they would have done it and they kind of got to the test screenings or something and people just went, no.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's already a harrowing scene as it is. And it's annoying because, like you say, I don't like the cut. I think the cut looks like fudged, but the problem is, I don't think I would have liked it, seeing, Kestra getting fished out the water kind of thing. Like, I don't. It's the whole thing of going, it was an issue with the script, not knowing how heavy the scene was. Rather than the network going, yes, let's not show that. That's because it does over egg the pudding a little bit, because it's. But
I think
it does kind of leave it up to kind of, because we don't really understand what's happened. We literally see the dog being very angry for a tiny dog, which is one of my complaints. But then we basically just have Luxana saying, "Oh, the dog got away," and then that's it. That's all she says. She doesn't say that she drowned. She doesn't say anything like that. It's kind of implied through other things.
And that
And the
works.
water scene earlier, and
Yeah.
yes, I
It
hate it because Kirsten Dunst. I know she's a child actor, but you ruined that scene, child. Back in
no
the
one
pageants.
no one
But
cares for your boots getting wet, child.
I just
But
hate it so much. It's like literally, it looks like it's like her just being like, "Oh, how silly I am!" Scamper off. I hate it.
I do agree that I think a visual representation would have been too much. It would have been over a line, whereas making her remember, but that and just omitting that part was powerful enough, because it makes you, something happened to Kestra, something awful happened to Kestra, and there was nothing that they could do. There was nothing that they could do to
Yeah.
save her.
And it annoys me, the setup, because it doesn't feel like that. And I know that it's very, very low budget. This episode is
It's a bottle episode.
there is no budget for this episode, basically.
Yeah.
They have the prosthetics for the cairns, and that's basically it. That's the extra stuff. And the fact that this is meant to be set on a planet where you can imagine that there's cliffs, you can imagine that there's running water and lakes and stuff like that, that a child could get injured in. But obviously the way it's done in the mind
We've gone again.
is, oh wow. But obviously the way it's done in the mind
We've gone again.
is, oh wow.
Yeah, it's really. There we go. There we go.
We're back again.
I really do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. There is an issue with YouTube at the moment.
It's not our fault, everyone. Just bear with us.
It's not.
Just YouTube being rubbish.
I'm looking at the statistics. I'm looking at the data, and it is a YouTube issue. So apologies, but if you do watch this back on recording, it should all be completely resolved. So I apologize if there is a drop.
But yeah, like what I was saying is the fact that the episode has, because it's all in Luxana's mind, she's kind of using like the prophets in DS9, where they're using what's available to them. So Kestra looks like a bit like sort of a Hedril, but then she's replaced with Hedril because Luxana can't bear to bring an actual image of Kestra there. And I kind of like that detail. It's like in that final scene after Diana's gone past all of Luxana's safeguards, and she's got to this final moment. She's taken that leap into the void, effectively, ended up in this memory of Luxana's, and forced her to kind of relive it and kind of face it. Luxana still isn't being honest about it. She's still not showing it as Kestra. She's still using Hedril as this proxy. And it's only afterwards, it's only after it all comes out and she's kind of like, dealing with it, that we see another actress come in who is actually Kestra, who has the shortest role in any episode ever, I think, who literally is just there for a couple of seconds just to hug Luxana and then say, "I have to go."
But
and
it's so powerful. It is so heartbreaking and powerful to see. Like you said, you have an image of Luxana Troy as this smiley, bubbly person. To see someone like that, broken, distraught, in floods of tears, hurts. It actually hurts. And you people have seen it in their real lives, where you've looked up to someone who you feel that you can rely on them because they're the ones that always make you laugh. They're always the bubbly ones. When you see someone like that, or even a stoic parent, where you've never seen them upset, you've never seen them cry, and then you see that it doesn't destroy you, it hurts, because you're seeing another side. You're seeing a vulnerable side to someone who you consider to be strong, who you consider that wouldn't have these. But it's also a good thing, because it makes you realize that these are people with depth. These are people with wide range of emotions, with pain, with layers of emotions that you don't understand. And it makes you realize, with the exception of Star Trek, they are human, and they have flaws like the rest of us.
Yeah, and I'd be tempted. Like, is anyone in the chat like, how do people in the chat feel about Luxana? Because I know that a couple of people aren't a fan of her. She's one of those controversial characters where some people are like, oh God, it's a Luxana episode, skip. Like they really don't like her. And I'd be interested to know how they feel if they don't like Luoxana. I'm not pronouncing it properly, but it's too hard. Luoxana as a character. Did this episode change that opinion, or did it kind of make them see her in a different light to it? That's what I'm kind of interested in because like it adds an extra bit of depth. Yeah, Chris Garris is saying he never skips them. But do you
I
skip
would
any?
never.
Do you skip any episodes, Chris? I can't imagine you being like,
If
you're
he
like,
doesn't,
all Trek must be enjoyed.
I bet he doesn't skip Code of Honor because he's a psychopath with a new hip. I think that
I just love climbing frames.
he's like with his new
I
hip.
just love jungle gyms.
I will climb the fluorescent tubes. Health and safety be damned.
Fetch my dual gauntlet.
The health and safety be damned, and then blind someone with a Pokemon card. But we
Oh, that's a deep cut. Well, it was at the time.
It was at the time. Son of a bitch. She got a skateboard out of it, man. Which I didn't get because she had a walking stick.
Hey?
Anyway, but I
None
never
of you know what this is about.
You
None of
really
you,
don't.
I'm not telling you. Okay,
I
there we go.
never turned up to that convention again. But I never skip them because she reminds me so much of someone I knew as a child that it's like a warming, it's a comfort to see her on the screen, and also, it adds a different dynamic to the cast that we have, because you've got very stoic characters, you've got curious characters, you've got characters that don't really show much emotion, and then she just comes in, she's just like a bull in a china shop. She just tears up the rules, and she is the type of person that can read I know she's telepathic, but can read everybody and can just own everybody in the room. She owns the room and she owns everybody in that room. And to have a character like that absolutely put Jean-Luc in his place. Yeah. And, let's be honest, she is one of the few people that can really, well, not get up his back, but really just like, what's the word?
Get under his skin.
Get under his skin. Well, yeah, get under his skin, but
we've got to talk about how good
see
the
through his
of the
facade
episode is.
Yeah,
like because we get it in like the telepathy episode where Beverly realizes, oh, Picard has this big front on that he kind of protects himself with, and he kind of inspires confidence in others by feigning, confidence in himself.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that leaders have to do. Like, I've been in loads of situations where I've had to act really confident or really certain about something in order to inspire people who are nervous or worried about something. Even though in your back of your mind, you're like, yep, this will probably fail, but I can't let you know that. It's like, so
you have to fake that confidence, because if the leader doesn't have confidence in what's going on, how can the people below him have that confidence? How can they have the ability to believe that they can get it done? And I've been in that situation, and being a manager, being a leader, being a trainer, you have to have that. You have to do it. And what we see with Loxana and Picard is she's the only one that can see through the Picard facade and can just deconstruct him.
She does that clever stuff where she can blatantly tell exactly how he's feeling because she can read his mind. But then she plays on it where she kind of goes like, oh, you know what would really embarrass him and give me the power over this situation? If I just made up some dodgy, where she's just like, oh, you're thinking naughty thoughts about me, Jean-Luc.
Yeah.
And he's blatantly not. But it's the fact of her putting that energy in the room takes his power away and gives her power. Like, she is the perfect role for an ambassador. Like, this is the thing. I kind of feel like if there was like Star Trek top trumps, there probably is. But
there is, yes. I had it.
Lyanna Troy would be a powerful character in
Yeah.
terms of we don't think she is, but I reckon if we ever got to see, like, we do get to see her. Like, there's the Ferengi episode where she manages to seduce the Ferengi captain or whatever
Oh
and get
God,
away that way.
yeah.
And it's not one of my favorites, but it's the fact of like it demonstrates like, whoa, she's really resourceful kind of thing. And she's not just this comedy character. And it's, I don't know, like I think, is it because she was portrayed by Margot Beret that I love her so much, or is it just because she's like well written? But yeah, it looks
I think it's a mixture.
Troy
I
is
think it's a mixture.
a great
Be-
character.
I think Michelle Beret playing Loxana Troy was the perfect choice for that role because she is this, you know, she can be. We've seen her as Nurse Chapel. We've seen her in the movies in the original series, and then we see her in this, and she's flamboyant. She portrays carefree and likes to party and have fun and live life to the fullest. Where it's like deep down, she's this hurt, traumatized individual, you know, concerned with her own mortality, concerned with her legacy, and concerned with the events of what's happened in the
But
past.
more importantly, concerned about the people she loves.
Yes.
Like you've got to think there's moments in this episode where she, and I've had it before. Like I had a dream about like it was one of those dreams that feels really real and then you wake up and you have to kind of go like, hang on, is that was that a memory or is it just a dream kind of thing?
Yeah.
You know, where but then she kind of has it where she has a moment with Troy where she just out of nowhere, like without any context of it, she's just kind of like going, you know, like, oh, you know, I don't know what I'd do if I, you know, if anything happened to you kind of thing. And Troy's like, where's this come from? And it's that thing, it's just that idea of realizing that she's lost her husband, she's lost a daughter that she had, and it wasn't like you know, a baby. It wasn't something like it was a child that she had 7 years with. That
Yeah.
you know, a child that was a personality, that was like a character, and she lost them. So, and now all she has is Troy, and she wants Troy desperately to be happy. She wants Troy to have all of the great things in the world. And then we see her kind of losing control in this episode where she's just going like, you need to find a man. I need to set you up with a man because that'll make you happy because then you won't be alone anymore and he'll protect you because I won't always be able to be there to protect you. And these are very real worries that she's having. And then the bit where she kind of loses control and she sort of busts in on her and Troy and Riker, and she kind of, you know, she just kind of goes, you know, she'd be married now if it wasn't for you. And it's this deep-seated resentment that she kind of hides because what she says to him, she apologizes, but she means it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's genuinely, you know, it's like one of those things of if you say something, you've obviously thought it.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, and it's like whether you say, oh, you don't mean it, it's like, yeah, but you still spent time, that's still something that appears in your head. And the fact that she's that sort of resentful to Riker for kind of not wanting to be with Troy, but then keeping Troy on the hook all the time. And yeah, and
I
it's
think,
just,
yeah,
she's very concerned about her daughter's legacy, and she needs someone to be there to protect her daughter because she's realizing her own mortality of she's not going to be around forever. And I think that's something that all parents can relate to.
but it's also dealing with grief.
Yeah.
It's also trying to process grief, and what we
Look at that pond,
see.
it's shit. That is a
It's
shit pond.
That's not even a pond. It's a puddle with a rock in it.
Yeah.
The
You know who made that pond? Keiko O'Brien. And what happened? A child drowned in it. So here we are once again.
Where is
Everything
Miles
Keiko.
O'Brien? Where is Miles O'Brien? He's
Like,
in recovery after she put his head in the pond.
Yeah.
That's why there's no transporter scenes.
She blew up something. She set fire to the transporter room just to keep him busy while she went to go and make an evil pond. That's
That's
what we
her
see
right
here.
there. That's
That is
the true
Keiko.
form of Keiko right there.
That is the, you know.
But it's
inside you are two wolves. Inside her is just one. And it's evil.
she was thrown to the wolves and she came back leading the pack.
Yeah, she full on like what is it? What's the Princess Mononoke did? That's what she did.
Yes.
Okay, with the Ghibli references.
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's dealing with grief, and it's portraying the negative way of dealing with grief, as in burying it, burying it deep within yourself, and just focusing on something else, or masking to hide the grief, which we have discussed this in the back. I've done it. Synoiz has done it. It's easily done because it's the quickest way to deal with the pain. Whenever I was feeling extremely low, I would mask how I feel by making other people laugh. I would be comedic. I would be funny in whatever way I could, because that is a sort of relief. It is sort of a outburst to deal with the darker feelings that you are. And then we see the positive side of dealing with grief, where it's, you have to face it, as much as it hurts, as much as it is going to be extremely painful. You have to deal with it, because the only way to move on from it is to tackle it head on, is to go through it. You have to deal with that grief.
But the decisions that we make immediately, and they don't get to be, if it's one of these things where you make a decision, and then if you don't actually get forced to challenge it or look back on it, you might never do that. And so it's obviously become a habit for her to bury it, because as we see, she after Kestra dies, she deletes 7 years worth of diary entries. Like, they were there. She just flat out deletes everything that happened for 7 years. She destroys every single picture of Kestra that exists. She tries to undo it and make it so that she's never there. Like, she never speaks about it. Like, you get the impression that, Ian, Troy's father, might be sort of trying to talk to her about it, and she's like, nope, not going to listen to that. She's totally avoided it, but then nothing has happened to allow her to do that. And it's, and the fact of, then it just becomes a habit. It becomes a habit to bury the feelings and to not talk about it and stuff like that, but you don't realize that it's there.
It also makes you.
Was it 30 years later? This is set 30 years later, and we sort of have just this little girl that she runs into, that she's helping to sort of work with, triggers this memory from so long ago.
It makes you wonder when Troy is reaching out to her mother's friends and Mr. Hom, how none of them will discuss this with Troy, with Deanna, and say, this happened. This is what could possibly have triggered it. Not one person in Loxana Troy's life,
and the thing is, it disclosed it, though, because it's I feel. That's the thing, though, because the friends and stuff would have known. Everyone would have known. Like, Mr. Hom would have known.
Yeah.
Well, did know, because he's the only reason why there is.
He's the one that's kept the photo. Yeah.
Yeah, he kept one picture when Luxana was trying to get rid of them all, because thought if and I forgot what the line is.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's but it's the fact of, I do find it a bit weird, though. I did kind of laugh at the idea of Troy's I've contacted everybody. I've contacted all of our friends, Mr. Hom. I've contacted our government, basically going, hey, do you have any reason why my mum's gone nuts? Can you imagine doing that? Can you imagine, phoning up someone's workplace or something and just being like, hey, you don't happen to know any kind of crazy inner turmoil that, this person has had? It's
and they're just have you ever heard of GDPR?
Yeah, it's the whole thing of I like the flex that she attempted to do it, but at the same time I'm I don't think anyone would have gone.
But you have to realize, she's reaching out because her mother's in a critical condition. She could potentially lose her life, and she's explaining it, and still, not one person would go, well, there was this one traumatic thing that happened when you were a child. Not one person raised that with Deanna, not even the government or anything like that. And you think, the mother's life is in danger. Her psyche is collapsing in on herself. She could potentially die from this. They're trying to find out if anything has happened to her that could trigger this. Why is it happening? and still not one person is going because your sister, passed away when you were a baby. And you have to go, so were you keeping this from Deanna, to protect the integrity and the dignity of Loxana and her secret? Or were you just negligent? Were you just deliberately keeping? Like it got to me a little bit, because it's like this ambassador, this very famous, very high up, important figure in the Beta Z society is near death. They are trying to find out what has happened to her to cause this, and not one person that Deanna contacted said it's because your sister died when you were a baby.
You know what it is though? Like, I wonder if it's because it's Deanna.
Do you think?
I think if Picard had contacted them, they might have said something.
Now
But I
that
think
would have
it's
been interesting.
the added thing of kind of going, hey Deanna, first things first, you had a sister. Second of all, your mother kept it from you. Third of all, she died, and your mum's been like, oh, Deanna is the one person that you wouldn't want to tell this information to.
Yeah.
Like, you would pass it on if it was like to Picard, and it's like, hey, don't tell Deanna, but here's the situation or something.
Yeah.
Or keep it low key. And I think that's the issue. I think the reason they're not speaking is because it's specifically Deanna asking for it, because she is the one who's most affected by it. Because they don't know her. They don't know her. She might freak out at the idea of going, what? Eh? Because I'd freak out if I knew, I had a sibling that was like sort of gone.
It was just something that, like, when I was watching it, I was like, surely, if it is a matter of life and death, which it is in this situation, it would be something that you would disclose to save this person's life. To go, it could be this what, but we don't know. She might have had many traumatic events in her life. We're reading too much into this. Maybe the problem was
they were like, which one?
Yeah, like, she's had
50 marriages.
She's had 70 mentee bees and it's only Tuesday. Do you know, like, but in all seriousness,
like, what's wrong with her? What's right with her?
Yeah, but in all seriousness, like you said, I did question it in my head when I was watching it, because I'm like, this is a well-known figure, and surely, like, Kestra was what, 7 years old, 8 years old, so that was a daughter that she, that was present in the ambassador's life, and her father, and it just, I want to know what happened to her father as well, because I know her father passed away, but I can't really remember.
Let's talk about the father, because this is the only episode ever that we get to see him.
Yes, you are correct.
Like, I thought that we got to see a picture in an earlier episode, but we don't. We just hear about him. I really thought we got to see a picture of him at some point. But in this one, we get him. We get Troy's dad, who's long spoken of, pretty much towards the end of the show,
I'm trying to find on Memory Alpha what happened, because it's I really just think it, because it's, well, could that have been the traumatic event? The loss of her husband, would that have been the trauma? Because you have to think, like, losing your daughter and then losing your husband pretty early. Because I think when did Deanna say he died? When she was
like 15, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like 13, 15 or something like that. So that's 2 traumatic events in, I would say, a short space of about 20. Yeah, but it's 2 traumatic events in in a close space. I'm trying to find his name, because I keep seeing Mr. Wolf on Memory Alpha.
He's called Ian, isn't he? Ian.
Yeah, let me just Control F Ian. There we go. There was 9 Ians. So there's not even a Memory Alpha.
Maybe I'm wrong then. But yeah.
Oh, Ian Troy. There we go. Never mind. I've got him. No, Ian Troy. Oh, I tell you,
would you believe?
Ian Troy. the episode, what's it called? It was the child from the early seasons of TNG, where Deanna had a son.
Deanna gets pregnant, yeah.
She calls him
pregnant.
She calls him Ian after her father. Ian Andrew Troy. There we go, I found him.
That's it, but that I'm pretty sure that's the only other reference to him by name. You know, Deanna's father is referenced a fair bit, like her talking about her dad and stuff, but like him being mentioned by name and actually sort of referred to as a character. But yeah, but what else have we got to talk about in this episode? Because like I love the twists of this episode, like how it leads you astray, where we're not quite sure what's going on. How do we feel about still don't know how to pronounce the name, Marquise?
Marquise.
Like, how do we feel about him? Because it's the fact that he's a really nice character. He's a really nice character, but then the episode kind of twists it, so it's like
it portrays him
as
he portrays him as a possible antagonist in the episode.
Yeah.
And it's done deliberately to throw the audience off the scent. And then the twist at the end is...
Do you think anyone would have guessed the twist from this? This is one of the best, like, sort of...
I'm going to be honest,
episodes for... I don't think... I refuse to believe anyone watched this episode and knew what was coming at the end.
This aired, for those that don't know, with The Next Generation, seasons aired 3 years after they did in America because, BBC. And, you know, because they were too busy covering up personalities. But this aired in 1996, so this was like...
Waiting for YouTube to go.
This aired in 96, so this aired during the 30th anniversary of Star Trek. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it was 30 years ago. I was 8. So it's going to be very difficult for me to remember, but I would hedge a bet that not a lot of people guessed this twist. Not a lot of people saw this coming. And like, you have to, and I know we've said this with other episodes, I would have loved to experience this for the first time. I would love to wipe my memory of this episode and experience it for the first time and you know, relive like that twist and the heartbreak and the trauma, because it does build it up that the Kern are the possible antagonists, and it suggests that it's Marquise and then it's the kid, and it leads to that, and it sort of gets to a point where, okay, it's not Marquise, so then you go, the twist is it's the child. It's the child causing this trauma to Loxana Troy because the child is... And then it's like, bang, nope, the child is just a representation for that child who turns out to be Troy's sister. I don't think anyone would have predicted this in this episode, but that's just how good this episode is. Like, to keep that so hidden, so close to the end of the episode, to have this, you know, gut-wrenching reveal that she lost a daughter and that Deanna didn't even know that she had a sister. And it's just so powerful, and it's so heartbreaking to see a character that is, you know, like her or not, she is beloved, suffer and feel such pain and such anguish over that. And it's genuinely upsetting. And like Synoiz said earlier on, we both welled up, even today, watching this episode, because it's not the reveal, it's the pain that we are seeing on Loxana, that we are feeling, that she is conveying.
Yeah.
And it is genuinely upsetting. But that's how well done the episode is. That's how well acted it is by Majel Barrett, that she could, even to this day, like 30 years after the episode and how many times that we have seen it, you can still feel that emotion. And I don't think I'll ever get over that. I don't think I'll ever get over feeling those emotions every time I watch this episode. And with everything that's happened to, you know, to my family and my friends, like, feeling that pain and burying guilt myself, burying guilt, burying emotions, burying grief, it's all the more sore rewatching it and going, this is, yeah, this is what I have done. And, you know, it's taken a lot of therapy. It's taken a lot of digging into that psyche. You know, like real life, there's no telepathic, oh, we can just delve into your mind and find this and fix this. In real life, it isn't. It's going through those. And I'll give you an example. We did a few months ago when I was still in therapy, we did a memory exercise where essentially you close your eyes and they talk you through a traumatic day. Now, I could, like, up until this point, I could not for the life of me tell you when it was, what I was wearing, where I was, or anything like that. This was fucking 32 years ago. But going through this memory exercise, sitting there, unlocked smells, sights, sounds, how I felt, in the emotions, feeling
like
the pain.
or something?
It's something like hypnosis. It's not quite hypnosis, but it's sort of it's like it's really hard to explain, but it's like a form of meditation. And you go through it and you come out the other end wrecked. You come out the other end absolutely destroyed because, like this episode, it's bringing those regressed memories and those repressed emotions to the forefront, and it allows you to deal with this traumatic episode in your life, tackle it head on, review it from an outside perspective, and deal and cope with something that at the time you were either too young, too immature, or didn't know how to process it. And then it goes through, and it honestly, it was one of the most powerful things that I have done in my life. And like I said, up until that point, I mean, I could tell you what happened that day from, you know, I could maybe give you a sentence and yes, it's bad, but you sit there and this is like an hour. This is a full hour, and you start at the beginning of the day. You go through that day, and the questions that they ask triggers and activates.
That's crazy.
Like like those memories. And you see episodes like this, and this is exactly the type of thing that you would do in real life, just without the telepathy. And it is harrowing because you sit there and you go, yeah, you relive it, because by reliving it, you're digging it up, you're unburying the stuff that you have spent so long, that you have spent decades forgetting, wanting to forget, not wanting to experience or anything like that. And you deal with it. And you come out the other side, yes, wrecked, but a better person, because you have been able to, in a more mature mind, in a more experienced mind, deal with the emotions that you were facing at the time when you were a kid.
But the thing is, like we see in this episode, that's exactly what we get at the end of this episode, where we get that sort of catharsis of like her letting it all out, her facing it. But like with you, it's the fact of, if you hadn't have had horrible stuff happening where you were having sort of horrible symptoms in your day-to-day life, you wouldn't have put yourself in that position where someone could help you, where someone could like help you face it. And I love that we have this. Like, this might well be Deanna's best move as a counselor, because it's like we joke about Crusher not being a very good doctor. Troy, for the most part, isn't a very good counselor from what we see, because for plot reasons, the only times we get to see her as a counselor is when something goes wrong. So it's kind of applied behind the scenes that she's actually really good at her job and she's got 100 success stories. But then every time we see her actually talk to someone, she's actually getting it wrong. Like we have in Picard season 3, like we have with Reg throughout, her making assumptions about what Reg is going through a lot of the time, Barclay is going through a lot of the time. So it is really nice to get like a proper Troy being able to help someone in a therapy way, and it being her mum. And I love that, like, she has literally just found out that she not only had a sister, but that sister passed away, and that the thought destroys her mother, and she's having to suppress it. And it's played so well by Marina Sirtis, where she's like suppressing that in order to help her mum. But then it has the amazing line of just like, like she didn't, like I saw a happy sort of lively girl kind of thing, and she didn't look like, she was unhappy. Like she didn't look like she lived to be unhappy. And
Yeah.
also the fact that like Troy, she's just found out that she had a sister and that she wants to know about her, and that they should be talking about, they should be talking about Kestra rather than, pardon the pun, burying her. But it's ho ho ho, did that get the stream cancelled?
No, no, no. It's we're not cancelled, but yeah, it's such a good episode. It's such a good Troy family
Mm.
episode as well.
And
And
there's
what we
very few of them
see,
because most of them are really silly comedy episodes.
but what we see at the end is a mother and a daughter bonding. We see a mother and a daughter where we have seen them for the most part of the 7 years at at each other's what's it called, at odds with each other, where we see them at this point come together. We see them unite and bond and talk openly about this traumatic thing that happened.
Yeah.
And her Deanna is helping her mother, and in turn her mother is helping Deanna understand and learn about her sister that she never knew. And it's a wonderful way, it is a wonderful way to end the episode as well. And
It's a wonderful way to end their relationship because I'm pretty sure this is the last episode that they both appear together.
yes,
Because Luxana appears in this is Luxana's last TNG episode, but it's also one of her last appearances ever because she's in DS9 for a bit, but never with Troy.
no.
I never with Diana, and it's yeah, and there's something lovely about this final episode with the two of them ending with them being the most mother and daughter they've ever been.
And it's absolutely wonderful because, like you said, you have to you have to think that Deanna has her own trauma in dealing with the loss of her father, but she discusses it. She's open with it, and we see the opposite with her mother, where it is buried because she never discusses her. She never discusses the loss of.
It's also how underhand Luxana is. Like when Troy goes into her mind into her mum's mind for the first time, and Luxana is doing everything to get her out. It's trying to push her away,
Yeah.
where she conjures up an image of Picard to basically go, "Hey, actually, you need to stop this right away." And Troy sees through it and goes, "You're not really Picard," kind of thing. And then we have it where she gets, I quite like it where the dog appears, as we're getting in the pictures, where the dog appears and Troy's just like, it can't hurt you, it's just an illusion, it's just a dream. But then she still panics and runs away from it. And I quite
Yeah.
like that. Oh yeah, okay. But it seems really fucking real. So it's like so she's
Freddy
still,
Krueger's round the corner as well. Yeah.
yeah, but I love that she's kind of being rational about it, but then still panics and freaks. That's like that feels like D&D where you sort of roll a sort of you're like, oh, I shouldn't be scared by this, but I am apparently, But but like, but the most underhanded thing, which shows you that people who are in pain, they lash out, they hurt others purely to protect themselves,
Yeah.
which is what people do. She conjures up an image of her dead husband to distract Diana. And she knows how much that'll affect Diana because throughout the whole scene where Diana actually finally gets to meet her dad and we get to see him in the flesh for the first time, she's visibly freaked out by it. She's just like, Mum, why would you do this? Like, this is pretty shady that you would sort of, do this knowing how much it would affect me.
Yeah.
And it turns into a kind of good experience where she kind of spends this moment with her dad, but she knows that she has to get away from it. But it's a trick. Luxana is trying to trick Diana, and she knows exactly how to do it. But it is a nasty technique.
It is. It
It's
is. It is a nasty technique, but you will do anything repress, you know, to
to stop
it.
yourself having to face the bad things.
Yeah.
And we've all done it. We've all sort of lashed out at mates or whatever who have tried to, you know,
We've lashed
cry
out.
or...
We've distracted ourselves. You know, whether it be partying, whether it be drinking, or doing something silly or something like that. We are all guilty of doing it because we all process grief in different ways, and because this is what the episode is. It's processing grief. It is symbolizing that you should not bury these, because in the long run it is detrimental to do so, both physically and mentally, to hide this. But this is a, I'm not going to say I love this episode, because I mean I do love this episode, but it's a wonderfully crafted episode. It does have flaws, and I know you've probably got some notes there, but I don't think anybody who watched this for the first time would ever get that twist, would ever you know, come to the conclusion, oh, this is what it's about. No, it must be this, it must be that. It's so well done that it's not revealed until 10 minutes into the end.
It's the whole thing of like, we just did a quiz on like crimes and murder mysteries and thrillers and stuff, but it's the fact of like the way that you do a twist properly is you telegraph it, but you make sure that people don't get it from the clues. Like,
yeah,
you know, because you can have stuff like, you can have like Scooby-Doo, where it's like sometimes it's a bit crap, but you'll always see the killer. The killer will, you know, the person who ends up being the villain when they unmask a monster, he will be shown. Like the only and like Sherlock Holmes, where it's like, oh, you get to the end, you get to the twist, and it's like, oh yeah, I can see how I could have worked that out myself had I have thought about it this way. I mean, not the Sherlock TV show, because that was just rubbish, because it was like going, hey, it's this character that we've never mentioned before. Like it didn't quite understand how it's meant to work, where you're meant to show all the pieces and give people the potential of working it out, not just have a plot where there's absolutely no way you could do it because you didn't know that this and this existed. But like this one, everything is there. Literally, the first moment that she's with Hedril, she freaks out, and you should be looking at that being like, why is she being bothered by the child? Why is she getting upset by the child? Like, all of the clues are there, and yet it still manages to take us off in this direction or make us think about this, and it's just masterfully done. But what I will say, like, I'll go into my critiques now. I put this in the Dabo Wheel because I class it as one of the greatest episodes of Trek, because it demonstrates perfectly the characterization you can do in Trek and the depth that you can do in Trek, where it's like, you know, like people aren't looking at this episode being like, oh, it's not Trek because they weren't going to new planets, or oh, there were no explosions, or oh, yeah, Geordie was only in one scene, you know, like, because obviously Geordie and Worf are purely there for the paycheck. This episode, like it goes, they're here in one scene and then we don't ever need them again. Like even Data gets barely anything to do in it.
Imagine Brent. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Imagine Brent turning up at like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. So this was shot over the space of 2 weeks.
That's why he got 2 bloody scenes, because they were like, we spent 5 hours for this.
I will tell you how long this episode took to make. What do you mean you can't find me? You bastards! Dark page. There we go. Oh wow, is everything just dark page? There we go. Imagine Brent having to turn up at like 4 in the morning, spend 4-5 hours in makeup to be in a scene for about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, if you weren't getting $7,000,
and Michael Dawn as well.
If you weren't getting $7,000 for an episode, would you still do this? Oh God, my bottles just fell over. I'm just trying to find. I literally had the production dates. So the script came in. There we go. The script arrived 26th of August 1993. They started filming the 27th of August to the 6th of September. So this took well over, I think that was well over a week, nearly 2 weeks, to get that filmed. um, and it premiered on the 1st of November '93. So that's a quick turnaround. But
That is.
it's you know you don't need those characters are minor, and I'm glad they are a minor character in these episodes. Like,
Well, I think it's the show very much goes, oh, we don't need those people for this specific episode, and
yeah,
the episode and the script is strong enough that we don't need these characters. We're kind of like they're there, and I like that all of them, like with Quark in DS9, where you'll notice in DS9 the episodes when Quark's not in it, he'll always have a really good, memorable scene with him in where
yeah.
it's just him complaining about someone at the bar, or just him sort of going to Odo and being like, "You need to lock this person up," and that's it. That's him for the entire episode. But it's memorable because he does such a good job, and they write it going, "This is the only time we see Quark. We'll give him something good to do."
But it
And they do that
shows
with
that.
Worf and Data in this.
But it shows very much, and this is what Golden Era Trek
Not
did
so
well.
much Geordie.
It this is what Golden Era Trek did so well. They're there because they exist in the world. So of
Yeah.
course they're going to be there. They don't have to say anything, they don't have to have a line or do anything. But they still exist because they are still crew on the vessel. They are there. You
Well,
can't just not have them.
the best thing is that the famous ensign is in this episode. You know the woman with the spiked haircut with the sort of
Oh,
like
cook. Oh,
I forgot her. We met her. We met her at one of the
we
conventions. And
did.
she was absolutely lovely, and she's in so many random episodes, but she's in this one for a second. She literally walks past the camera just as Luxana is no, just as Troy comes into the room at the beginning. She
Tracy,
walks past the camera.
Tracy Kaku.
Yeah. And it was just, and it's that thing of going, yeah,
Coco, sorry.
but like you say, she exists in the world. She exists on the ship. So naturally she'd be there at that party walking around, but she doesn't have anything to do, but it makes it feel like a living, breathing
It's a
like
world
crew.
where you are gonna see these, and this is what I love. Like, it's like, oh, it's Ensign first appeared on season 7 episode 2, but he was there since the ship launched, we just never saw.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like, these people worked and operated, and yes, people transferred in, people transferred out, blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah, but they exist because it is a world. And Star Trek of
But
this
that's what's so
era just
important, like
did it
having
so
O'Brien,
well.
like having O'Brien there, like having like Ensign Walsh in what is it in Enterprise? Like obviously the lovely Duncan. It's the idea of
Yeah.
going, yeah, he exists in that world, and we might not see him in every episode, but when we do see him, he's doing what you would expect him to do. He is part of the crew. He's part of there, and it's but yeah. But anyway, to move on, like the I love this episode. I put this in the Dabo Wheel. I think it's a really important episode of Trek, and I'm so glad that we got to talk about it. But I'd actually only give it an 8 out of 10 because I think we could do better with it. And it's an episode that it, I think it'd be good to get a better cut of this because the things that upset me about it, the things that annoy me, are pretty much all sound and all stuff that I think that other takes could have fixed because
Oh,
sometimes
really?
sometimes the acting is a bit hammy. Like I love Marjorie Brett, and her acting at the end where the reveal happens is so perfect. It is so harrowing. It is so raw, like how she does it. But there are bits in it where I'm just like, that's a bit, it's a bit like acty kind of thing, and I do feel it's a bit odd. But then in other places, she's top notch, and I just go, there must be another take. There must be another take that we could use for that. But in terms of the sound is just wrong. I don't like the music in this episode. I don't like the effects in this episode. Like, because the music is so sinister. It's like someone said, "Oh, this is a thriller episode where there's a big twist at the end," and the guy doing the music just walked away and being, "So make it creepy as fuck." Okay, cool. Every time we see Marquise have the music be really creepy, like have the music be really sort of dramatic and creepy, and oh, every time she touches her face and looks a bit sad, have everything go wild in the music, and you're like, no, that's far too heavy. It like, and it makes it into a horror rather than like I don't know, it makes you feel, oh, there's something going on, rather than it being more subtle. And stuff like, with the dog, where why is the dog this tiny little dog? It's like a Pomeranian or something. It's a tiny little dog that they have. And literally it just has it going "Rrr, rrr,
I
rrr," and it's like
think
way louder than that actual dog would ever be.
I think that's
And
why
why is
the
it angry? Why is the dog angry? Like, what's it looking at? Like, it just wants to. I thought the whole thing is that it just wants to go off and play and accidentally goes in the water and then she falls in the water. Why
yeah
is stuff like that where I just go, it little, and there's I've got loads of them, so I won't go through all of them, but it's like all these little bits where you just go, you could edit that. You could literally do another cut of this episode, change the music, make the sounds and stuff a lot like more subtle and stuff. Get rid of the Kirsten Dunst jumping into the water thing. I won't ever shut up about it. I hate it so much. Um, and then do a couple of different takes. And I think me being like this and saying it's not perfect and we could like fix it is my way of sort of showing how much I love it. Because if you don't love something, you don't care about fixing it.
yeah
It's that whole thing of going, you would just go, ah, fuck it. It's a crap episode, just ignore it kind of thing. The idea that, like we do with stuff where we think about how do we improve this episode and stuff, it's because we want it to be better. We want
yeah
it to be the best it can be.
our criticism is not for criticism's sake. It's constructive, and we would go, okay, this is our this is our critique. This is how we feel it could have been improved. This is how we
Yeah.
feel it could have been directed better, or choreographed, or the sound could have been mixed better, or a different overture, or there could have been
Nothing I'm
something.
saying, nothing I'm saying is a critique of the story
No,
or like it is so perfect as a story. That's the thing.
yeah,
It's so good. It's and the fact that there's no budget in it and it doesn't need a budget. Like, yes, I think rather than being in the arboretum at the end, they could have just been in a field, and then it would have made more sense of going, oh, there could be a cliff. There could be some actual danger. But the way it frames it is like, just imagine that there's danger
it's
of water somewhere.
definitely
You know,
budgetary constraints that
but
they've
it
done
doesn't
this
need them.
episode.
The
Yeah,
entire episode is all about relations and talking and people and
yeah.
stuff, and I love that. And that's what annoys me when modern day Trek, we just go, how did this cost so much? Like, where did that money? You didn't need that money. You could
Oh,
have
we're not
made
going down this
all,
rabbit hole again.
but we could have made all the good things that are in this episode with none of these effects, like
I
none
I
of these visuals.
think I think it's a problem with modern television where it's the obsession of polish and making it look pretty. It's style over substance
But then
when you
fluffing the
could
editing.
yeah, and you could achieve so much with so uh much less. And you look at episodes like, I mean, yes, it's 30 years ago. Yes, things have changed, but I look at that and they've upscaled TNG to HD. And I still love it. Yes, maybe
Yeah.
things look a little bit dated, but it's not about the visuals. It's about the story. It's about
Yeah.
how the story is told. And this is just one of those unbelievably good episodes that has a limited amount of sets. It has a limited amount of people in it that actually get something to do, but tells such a good, gut-wrenching story about a character that, up until this point, we essentially stereotyped to a degree,
Yeah.
where it just turns her on her head. And I think it is one of the best episodes of The Next Generation. Do you have any other notes?
Uh, this is
That's a
a
daft
totally minor one.
question.
The only visual thing that I complain about this, and it ties into what you were saying about being upscaled,
Yeah.
is the scene where Troy actually collapses, where she
Yeah.
basically, where she sees a Hedril like fall into the pond.
Yeah.
It's annoying because the fact is, I think see, once again, my problem is with the sound. I think we should have heard Luxana call out.
Yeah.
We should have had it where she's watching Hedril. Hedril falls in the water. It's a direct fear tied into the death of her daughter Kestra, she should have cried out, and then it would have worked with going, oh, she's collapsed. But
Yeah.
effectively, we just kind of see Hedril do a shitty little thing where she scampers off after going in the water. But then they're just like, oh, Luxana's collapsed. Oh no. And he's just like, what? We didn't
Not
see
one
it.
person saw her.
Yeah, that's it. And I just think it would have been, but maybe it would have given the twist away too much. Like it's like, oh, why? She's seen her fall in water and she's freaked out or something. But I do think it would have worked if we'd heard Troy cry out.
Yeah.
But the only bad visual I think in the episode is that when in this scene, Luxana looks really tired. Like they've made her look really tired, but with the upscaling, it looks like they just drew charcoal underneath her brows, and and they've made it look like she's got bags under her eyes, but it's not good. It's not the best makeup that we've seen.
It's not, but they didn't have 1080p.
Yeah.
Back
well,
then.
That's exactly it. It's like that is the minor of minorest gripes. So the last thing I want to talk about is a really, really important thing, and it's basically Marquis' ribbed sleeves. Can you put the pictures back on? Look at his ribbed sleeves.
Absolutely. Computer, take us to the screenshots.
Go on, where
Oh,
are they?
Jesus.
Angry Troy.
Oh,
Angry Troy.
I want to speak to your manager.
I love that, though. Getting to see her that angry is it's really powerful the way it hits. There's baby Troy. See, that dog does not make an angry noise.
I don't know.
That dog
have you met our friend Donna's dog?
Yeah, actually,
it's a Pomeranian's a savage.
He will kill us.
Yeah, 7 times before we hit the ground. See, I love this. I love this image. I really do.
Good.
A mother and daughter.
Well, it's the dynamic shifting between them, where it's like showing the maturity of Deanna because the mum worries about her daughter's maturity. There he is. Look at those ribbed sleeves. What kind of design is that? It's like corduroy. It's like corduroy with these big ribbed sleeves. And I don't know if I like it or not.
His delicious, manly, hairy chest just popping off the top of that undershirt as well.
Things where he is kind of sexy, but it's like at the same time. I have mixed feelings about Marquis.
I tell you what, right? You're probably going to resonate with this. He's giving me Ted Danson vibes.
Yes, like Alien Ted Danson.
Alien Ted Danson. Like, if Cheers was empathic, that's who we would have. So we're going to call him Alien Ted Danson.
What would you do if him, like Marquis and his ribbed sleeves, what if he came up to you and was like, tell me of your need? Would that do it for you? He wants to satisfy your needs, Goodwill. And look, his sleeve's already half rolled up.
He just stares at me intently and just goes, "What is Marmite?"
Can you imagine that during sex, though? Just him just being like... We've got like 1,000 images at once of like Teletubbies or something. But no, but how awkward would that be? Yeah, you're in the bedroom and you're trying to sort of like, and you're like, oh, well, what thoughts do I give back to you? And you accidentally send like pictures of Mr. Blobby or something, just and just make sex really, really weird because he's staring at you like a serial killer.
Deanna is judging you. Hang on, where is there?
Hold on, you can manually move them. Why were we sitting through them before?
Because I'm a consummate professional.
Okay,
I'm a consummate professional.
Look at Beverly judging him. She's just like, look, come on over here with your ribbed sleeves.
She's like, oh
ribbed
God.
for Deanna's pleasure.
Do not read my mind. Do not.
Do they have candles in your...
That candle episode is 20 episodes away. Please don't read that. Please don't read... I have not read any journals yet.
She must be terrified of, like, terrified of telepaths. He's like, oh my God, he knows that I don't know what I'm doing.
He knows that I will kill again. He knows the malpractice suits. He'll understand them all.
Actually, I will give some credit to
Woof.
Crusher for this because I always make loads of jokes about Crusher not being a very good doctor, but in this one, she basically does everything that she's supposed to do. Like
Yeah,
she
her
goes on the
job.
medical route, she checks all of the stuff, and she goes, "Hey, it might be trauma, but let's just double check all the medical stuff. We'll run all of the scans," and she does everything that she's supposed to do, and then she kind of turns up being like, "Yep, she seems to be fine," like.
It's almost like she's the CMO of the ship. Any further notes?
I think we've been doing this long enough. Yeah. But
Well,
no, it's a really important episode, I think. Yeah.
well, that before we move to the next segment, that has been our review of Dark Page from season 7 of The Next Generation. A truly wonderful episode. However, the show is not over yet because next week we must choose an episode. And in order to choose an episode, I have a challenge for Science Officer Synoiz. I do have a challenge. I also have a challenge. I have a challenge for Science Officer.
I'm trying to read your mind. I'm trying to work out what the answer is ahead of time.
I feel like that,
loads of random images of blobby world.
I feel like that should be like a Snapchat from you. Like, I telepathically sent you a picture of elephants. Please reply. And it's just that face.
I sent you a picture of my dick. Please
reply. I telepathically sent you an image of my dick. Please reply.
How they can just misuse their powers.
Telepathically send nudes. I have a challenge for Science Officer Synoiz. In order to I could sense your pain. In order to determine if we review a good episode or a bad episode of the Dabo Wheel next week. This is going to be an easy challenge. I feel I have every confidence that you will get this right. I have been pondering my orb all the way through the episode, rattling my brain, thinking of a good challenge question, and I have come up with one. Are you ready?
Nope, but go on.
Good. First of all, Prince Andrew says hi. Second of all, I love that the king did that. Second of all, here is your question. In this episode, Dark Page from The Next Generation, one key set is not used. What is the name of that set?
Trisha. No.
What? Yeah. What key? What key?
We don't see engineering at all in this whole episode.
Keep going.
We don't see the bridge either. We don't see. Well, we don't see most of them. We don't see.
We don't see the bridge.
We don't see engineering. We don't see
We don't see the bridge. We don't. Yeah. This is. I think this is one of the few episodes where we do not see the bridge of the Enterprise. That is. Congratulations, you won.
Hey!
Yes, that was easy. That means, without further ado,
on the Goodwill.
Cabruta. Oh, that was bad. I felt like I smelt burnt toast. Take us to the Dabo Wheel. Oh, bollocks.
Hello.
Computer, take us... Wait, what?
Oh, I'm down here. Hold on.
What has gone on with this?
It's because we had a guest.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, the lovely... Hello.
Hang on.
I'm in this corner.
Slight technical issue. There we go. Oh, it's been a Friday. Nope, that's not it. It's already 2 Zooms. I really screwed this up, haven't I?
I'm enjoying being this little box.
I really screwed this up.
Hello.
Talk amongst yourselves. There we go. Hey, anybody think I've been doing this? Anybody think I've been doing this for years? There we go. Hang on, let me just snip you because you're not Jewish yet. You're not Jewish yet. There we go. Mazel tov. Right.
I've just been snipped.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dabo Wheel of
Episodes.
Honour!
Honor.
There we go. Welcome to the Dabo Wheel of Dabo. If you have not seen Trekking Up North before, first of all, we are far more professional than this. Second of all,
You have not got this far, basically. You have not survived this far.
The Dabo Wheel of episodes has every episode of Star Trek in existence, asterisk, programmed into it, and we have selected 12 good and 12 bad episodes, totaling 24, and it is our mission to get through the good and the bad, and then we can get on with the rest of the episodes because we still got 940 odd to do. What I do, I ask Science Officer Synoiz's prediction of what is going to be the next episode. We spin the wheel. When the wheel stops, we yell at the top of our lungs, Dabo! You comment, Dabo! You put in the chat, Dabo! You throw a brick through my window with the word Dabo hastily scribbled in crayon and wrapped around the brick.
Yeah. You telepathically send me images of Dabo, which obviously...
So, Science Officer Synoiz, could you telepathically tell us what episode you want to see in next week's episode of Trekking Up North? Yes, but we need the baby oil. Next,
it's got to be. We've reviewed so many good episodes. I can't remember what's in the Dabo Wheel of Honour, but I want In the Pale Moonlight.
In the Pale Moonlight. Yeah. We absolutely have to have In the Pale. Or do we have the Siege of AR-558?
I think it's in there.
Could we have another harrowing episode after this week? Are we mentally in that position to have a twofer, do you think?
A twofer? Ooh,
a twofer. I want Take Me Out to the Holosuite.
Okay.
I want something light-hearted. I want something fun.
Is that in there?
It is in there. Take Me Out to the Holosuite. Well, it better be. I will check the list. I will release the files later on, and I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. When you did that face there, you definitely look like you should wear a basketball jersey and Crocs. It was definitely a choice. Right. Interact. Are we ready, Science Officer Synoiz?
Yeah, I'm just checking.
Are we ready, audience? I'm going to take it as a yes because there is a 2-minute delay. In 3, 2, 1. Oh!
Living witness.
Dabo! Star Trek Enterprise Stigma. I believe this is your choice, Science Officer Synoiz.
I think it is, and I think it is my choice. I've forgotten why it's my choice, which is hilarious. But I know that it has Phlox in it, and Phlox is one of my absolute favorite characters. I think this is a Phlox and a Hoshi episode, isn't it?
Season 2, episode 14 of Star Trek Enterprise Stigma. T'Pol's position on Enterprise is jeopardized when the Vulcans discover that she has contracted a mind-affecting disease. Meanwhile, one of Phlox's wives comes aboard and expresses a romantic interest in Tucker, much to his discomfort.
I'm looking forward to this. This is
going to be a
great
good one.
Phlox episode. It's an even better T'Pol episode because the way this episode is basically a very, how do we say this? A very sort of light, badly veiled metaphor for the HIV crisis, the AIDS crisis. And it's a really interesting thing to get in Trek. And it was that specific thing of Trek echoing real life, but doing it in a subtle way because they knew that people would kick off if you said it how you wanted to say it, which is what Trek is really good at going, we're talking about this, but you've missed that,
This was the 668th episode of Star Trek released out of, at the moment, 992 episodes.
So we just need 8. We just need one more series. And then
Strange New Worlds
season 4 will have the 1,000th episode.
You are correct.
Wow.
Strange New Worlds season 4 will have the 1,000th episode of Star Trek ever made. That is insane. That is that is quite insane when you think about it. That's 1,000 hours of Star Trek, not including the movies. I think that's pretty much NCIS levels of episode count at the moment. Like I was me and Charlotte were talking like NCIS. The universe of NCIS encompasses like many spin-offs. JAG, which was the original, which is a spin-off, which NCIS is a spin-off of, Hawaii Five-0, Magnum PI, and then all the other NCISs and stuff like that. And it's about 1,100 hours worth of television. And you think that's in 30 years. Star Trek in 60 years is just creeping up to 1,000 episodes. That is a hell of an achievement. So that means actually, when you think about the timing, so Strange New Worlds is out on the 23rd of July. If they play it right, the 1,000th episode should fall around Star Trek Day.
Really?
In September.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine the timing of that? The 1,000th episode on the 60th anniversary of the franchise. If Paramount do that, that's going to be a chef's kiss move, and I will give props to them if they're going to do that. However, we will be reviewing... Where's the screen? We will be reviewing Stigma from Season 2 of Star Trek Enterprise next week. You guys know I absolutely adore Star Trek Enterprise, and I get to wear my jacket again, so I'm super happy. That has been our review of Dark Page from the Next Generation. I would like to thank my delectable Geesian from the planet Honk, Science Officer Synoiz, sporting our new merchandise. Look at it, it's so shiny. It's got a sticker on as well. What does the sticker say?
Oh, the sticker says, what is it? The authentic snapback thing. What's it called?
Oh, it's authentic snap-on, strap-on, or whatever. Yeah, it's authentic. Yeah, it's authentic. That will be for sale very shortly on Adequate Merch, as well as many other mythical things.
Well, the thing is also, you can join our Discord. I believe it's trekkingupnorth.com/Discord. It's in the link. It's in the description. Below. But yeah, you can happily join that and give us your merch ideas, like what you'd like to see. Because the whole point is that because we're using drop shipping, we can kind of make anything, which is quite cool. So we can make anything, and we just want to know what you'd like to have, what you'd like to purchase.
Could be anything.
Because anything that can show support for our channel is wonderful. Because we need to make this channel bigger. We need to get the word out. We need to get more people tuning in and watching. And because we have so much fun doing this.
We both work.
Except for now. Yeah. We're having a horrible time.
We both work very hard, and we like to see the channel grow. We're just so busy with life and life admin. I would love to dedicate my entire day to promoting the YouTube channel, to doing the clips and stuff. But it's we're grown adults with bills. Well, I mean, I'm semi-grown. With bills and stuff like that. I am a child man. But we want to see it grow. We will be, venturing over to a certain convention this year where we may have merch. So, yeah, we just want to get the word out. We've got business cards. I've been spamming everywhere with business cards as well. But please, tell your friends about Trekking. If you are a Trekkie, tell your friends about Trekking Up North. Share anything that you see us post on our socials. Get the word out that we are just two people who love Star Trek and just want to share our love of it. We are not negative, and when we are negative, it's constructive negative.
Okay, yeah. It's because I am very negative, but it is always from a place of being
It is. But that has been another episode of Trekking Up North. I have been Captain Goodwill. He has been Science Officer Synoiz. I want you all to take care of yourselves, live long and prosper, and as ever, on Trekking Up North.
Like,
Miles,
subscribe, post a comment.
and your sorbet sucks.